I can't believe it either, George. It is still not butter. That is the worst intro I've ever done. Hello, everyone. My name is Michael SK, and welcome back to Umineko When They Cry Episode 2. George and the remaining servants have been separated off from the remaining family members, which is just Battler, Rosa, and Maria. Kinzo may or may not still be alive. We can assume probably not, based on what happened in Episode 1, and from that little hint we got earlier in this episode that he probably is not among the realm of the living, but regardless, we can assume there's 7 or 8 of us left. Only a few more deaths until all that are needed for the ritual have been completed. And wowzers, the last video was disheartening. It really was. In multiple ways, Battler kind of getting a bit defeated on what was happening. He's basically seeing the same thing he saw in Episode 1, if not worse. People kind of just tearing at each other, and death is just imminent. The big L is right around the corner. But also, nobody can really believe the servants here. In, the situation that it is very much unfair, reasonably so even. It really does suck where everybody is currently placed here and whatever has been manipulated. I have some thoughts, but I'm going to wait until the very end of this episode to share some of the things I've kind of been coming up with, but this does just straight up suck, the sort of situation that we're in. Also, Rosa is a bitch. I think we can all agree with that. I don't know what I said about Rosa whenever she kind of got appointed to the position that Natsuhi had in Episode 1, but fuck all of that, honestly. Natsuhi was bearable to a point. She definitely had her flaws, but she wasn't, hateful or evil to the degree that we've seen Rosa. I said this at the end of the previous video. This has really shown our characters in a light that we have not seen, and that's what all of this does so well.
それが真相だというのかい?
はい、私たちは見たままのことをお話ししています。
George folded his arms and started mumbling again, and the kitchen was once again wrapped in a long silence.
ジョージ様がにわかには信じられない気持ちも私はよくわかります。何しろこの目で確かに見たはずの私ですらあれが何だったのかわからなくなる。私は確かに見た。そして取っ組み合いまでしたはずなんです。なのに
Yeah, everybody saw the same thing.
幻だったような気すらする。
And it's so believable. We even saw the same thing. It's so believable how they've acted based on what they had just went through that it's hard to believe that they have all conspired together to make up this story to kill Nanjo and Kumasawa. It's just, it's so hard to believe that.
ローザおばさんに詳しく話せないわけだ。今の話を本当にしてたら、もっと面倒なトラブルになっていただろうね。なるほど。源氏さんが随分冷静な対応をしていたのが分かりました。
私にそれを説明するだけの力があればよかったのですが。
Genji actually remaining as composed as he is a little questionable. I will admit, I don't want to suspect him, and I'm definitely not, but I do have to throw it out there. As composed as Genji always is, I do find it a little odd this time around. George had not actually seen it, and even when pressed to believe it, he just couldn't imagine it. It was only natural, because even the people who had actually seen it had given up asking themselves what it was.
話を少し巻き戻すよ。シャノンはカノン君が偽物かもしれないと思った時、クモの巣を取ってきたと言ったね。
Yeah, that actually confused me a little
どうして
bit.
そんなことを?
Like, was that a bit of like a garlic effect or something against a vampire? What did we have going on
どうして
there?
クモの巣だったんです？
前に熊沢さんに聞いたことがあるんです。大昔の六軒島には悪霊が住んでいて、そのクモの巣を恐れたって。
That is so odd.
それでクモの巣を魔除けと尊んで大切にしたという昔話があるんだそうです。
You know what? This isn't something I was thinking about, but I'll bring it up anyways. That mirror being broken, if we recall, by Shannon in the very beginning of this episode, that was set up because of evil spirits that were more so from the east side, you know, from Japan and whatnot, where it also had a bit of a effect, so Beatrice had said, on Beatrice. So that mirror needed to be destroyed. Something that maybe I had brought up, you know, a while ago, like in the very beginning, or maybe I didn't, but it was something I was thinking was, couldn't that have the, you know, leading effect to undo what was done with that whole shrine in the mirror in the first place? And to bring back those evil spirits and whatnot?
それでその土佐に
Which is why I brought up a prediction, like, also earlier on,
私も
that
少し
maybe our
混乱
enemy
してい
might
た
not
んだと思います
necessarily be Beatrice.
そんな話が。熊沢はそういう昔話に詳しかったな。
雲は液中ですからね。確かにそういう信仰があってもおかしくないかもしれない。
Honestly, fuck spiders. Even the ones that don't, like, do literally any harm to you,
鳥の
fuck
祠
them.
が封じ込めてたんだと思います。そして
If there's like a giant ass spider in the road, I will aim to run it over. That's all I'm
ベア
saying.
トリーチェ様を蘇らせる力となってしまったに違いないのです。私が心の弱かった私があんな大それたことをしなければ。
シャノン、その話はもうしなくても大丈夫だ
Yeah,
よ。
what's done is done, honestly.
君を責めたりなんかしない。
Though I am surprised that she's actually bringing it up now. It must be eating at her, thinking that she's at fault. Since long ago, Shannon had often suggested that there was some kind of occult cause for her meeting with George. Huh, I wonder why. After listening to her, George had grown to think that she was being a typical girl associating love with fate, chance, and miracles. He did think that smashing the spirit mirror offered at the Tori shrine was taking it a bit far, but he'd laughed it off and forgiven her, thinking of it as just a prank that showed how serious she was about her relationship with him. Just breaking a mirror in some musty shrine wouldn't have changed the fate of our meeting. Yeah, realistically speaking. And it would never cause any curse. He tried to cheer her up, saying it was only a musty mirror covered in dust. The thing is that, like, I'll let go to speak here.
という話はこの島に勤めるようになってからたくさんの同僚に聞かされました。
You guys know, like, all those superstitions where it's like, well, at least here in the West, like, oh, if you step on a crack, you break your mother's back, or like, oh no, a black cat, and oh, Friday the 13th, and walking under a ladder, and then there's like spilling salt or whatever. All these, you know, superstitions, as stupid as they sound, and maybe even the ones that are a little scarier, like what Shannon did in the very beginning, when you overthink things, your mind will play tricks on you, which is something that I've been thinking about. And again, I'll bring all that up later when we finish off this episode, but it could just be that a lot of things could be happening because people are putting their minds in a very negative area. They're overthinking things and scaring themselves, but what we saw a couple of videos ago, no. That's something else. That's some sort of wild evil.
表向きは信じているように振る舞っていきました。しかし、まさか本当に。
いたんです。ベアトリーチェ様はずっとこのお屋敷におられたんです。でも、ベアトリーチェ様は力を失っておられて、私たちの前に姿を現すことができなかったんです。ずっといた。私たちが見えなかっただけなんです。
God damn these fucking words. I don't
源氏さんの
understand.
意見を聞きたいです。
私には何も意見はありません。一つだけ申し上げたいのは、私たちはあの時ここに5人いた。そしてカノンが勝手口から帰ってきたと思った。そして使用人室に運び、何かが起こって南條先生と熊沢が帰らぬ人となってしまった。
Very vague and odd way to summarize the story.
それだけです。私たちは見たものをすでに全て説明しました。それを見ていないジョージ様に信じろというのはとても無理な話だと理解しています。
信じられるわけがない。あれは間違いなくでも あいつがベッドから起き上がって、そう、こんな風にしながら、
Yeah,
胸の
that was
傷を
really
まさぐり
odd.
始めた時、
Like, unless somebody...
こ
So,
いつ
so
は
you
カ
can
ノンさんじゃない。
you can run with the story that
誰か
someone
別の
dressed
存
up to
在なん
look
だと
like
直
him,
感しました。
but there would have to be some crazy, like, special effects or something, some crazy amount of makeup to make it look like he was actually
ジョージ様に
digging
はわからない
around
でし
in
ょ
a
う。
wound.
よく知っていると思っていた人物が、実は別人であることをさらけ出した瞬間の恐ろしさというものは説明できない。とても説明できるわけがない。
わかるよ。郷田さんがそれほどまでにショックを受けるどんな恐ろしいことがあったのか。
ありがとうございます、ジョージ様。
You know, something I do wonder, so when we had Kanun, you know, quote unquote, you know, come here into the kitchen, they carried him over to the servant room and all that. Was his wound, like, on his chest? Like, somewhere on the front of his body? Or was it on the side? Was it on the back? I'm trying to think. I don't know if that detail was ever specified to us whenever he did get impaled back whenever he was killed in Jessica's room. But that could be a detail that may or may not be important. Like a misplaced, like, I guess, area where he was fatally wounded. I don't know. And they all fell silent again. Shannon kept crying no matter how many times she was consoled, thinking that listening to the witch's sweet whispers and breaking the spirit mirror on that day had been a mistake that ruined everything.
君に囁いたという魔女は、その鏡があると力を失うんだね。
I've begun to wonder about that. I think somebody in the comments also brought that up, but I had also been wondering that even before the mirror was broken. Well, I guess it was broken in like the first, you know, fucking bit of the, you know, story here, but I'm talking about when Shannon was being told for that favor to go and do that. Was that really what was holding her back, or is there more to it? Again, is our only enemy Beatrice here?
少し説明してくれた気がしますが、よく覚えていません。あの鏡があると力が出せないというようなことを言っていたと思います。
君が割ったというその鏡はどうしたの？
I don't know, it cracked, it broke.
覚えていません。
Wait, what?
多分割ったまま立ち去りましたから、そのままそこに残ってたでしょう。
Well, also that entire shrine has been like struck
ということ
down.
は、岩礁が雷で撃たれて消えたとかいうときに海の底か。まあ、拾って接着剤で貼り付けたところで、ご利益は戻らないだろうけどね。
Yeah, not that easy there, George. I honestly don't think that it's Shannon's fault
なんて
here.
ことを。
ごめん、失言したよ。
I don't think she's at fault. He didn't know Shannon breaking the mirror really had started all this off. Though the servants didn't blame Shannon, they all seemed to believe that her actions had been the root cause. But even now, George wasn't able to go that far. All this talk about witches and evil spirits just sounded fake to him, even though he was trying to be open-minded. It's hard to be open-minded about things that shouldn't really exist. Even so, he listened seriously to Shannon's story, trying to find a hint that might relieve at least a little bit of the pain in her heart. And good luck there, buddy. But that is a bit of your job to kind of work with your partner
そ
through
の鳥居に
the
あった
tough
ものとは
times.
違うでしょうが、奥様がお守りとして霊鏡をお持ちになっていると聞いたことがあります。
What?
夏日おばさんが？
はい、おじい様の形見分けか何かでもらったものだそうで、とても強い魔除けの力を持つ霊鏡だとかなんとか。
同じ話は私も聞いたことがある。
Why does that sound
鏡
familiar?
は良くないものを反射して弾き返す力があるのだとか。
Have we heard about this before? I don't think we have, but it sounds so fucking familiar.
その霊鏡があれば、魔女のベアトリーチェに対抗できるかな？
We do need some sort of object, right? I mean, that's supposedly what worked in episode 1 until everybody, you know, decided to be stupid and, you know, everything ended the way it did there. When George proposed this, the servants looked up.
祀っていた鳥居と祠はもうないかもしれないけれど、霊鏡がもう一枚あるのは重要なことだよ。 夏日おばさんの実家は神職にも通じていると聞いたことがある。それは本当に単なる鏡ではないかもしれない。
Oh, wait a
確か奥
minute.
様は宝物箱に入れて大事にしまっている
No,
とおっし
wait.
ゃっていたような気がします。
We did hear about this. There was an exchange between Natsuhi and Jessica in episode 1, right? Where Jessica gave Natsuhi the charm that she was given by Maria, and Natsuhi gave her the mirror. Was that the item? Again, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that might be it.
そんなに大きいものではないのかもしれません。
大きさの問題ではなかったと思います。私が割った鏡も一見大したことのない小さ。
相手がオカルトなら、こちらもオカルトの手段で対抗するしかない。
As they say, fight fire with fire.
ただこうして座っていても何も解決しない。
Doesn't work in any of the JRPGs that I play.
単な
Though.
る気休めだとしてもやってみる価値はあるよ。
Of course, this didn't mean George had accepted the witch. However, he thought it would be necessary to have some kind of purification ceremony to heal the wounds in Shannon's heart. If anything, it will make her feel a little better. So the story about Natsuhi's spirit mirror was really convenient.
行こう。魔女をやっつけようなんて大それたことは言わないよ。
No, do it.
でも魔女から身を守る魔除けがあってもいいと思う。前にマリアちゃんに聞いたんだけど、おじい様の部屋の扉は強力な魔除けが施されているんでしょ。
Yes, we should hole up in there.
さすがおじい様だね。オカルトに対する防御も十分だったわけだ。行こう。夏日おばさんの部屋へ。
しかし奥様の部屋には鍵がかかっていると思います。
Oh yeah, we have a now lack of a master key.
マスターキーはローザ様にお返ししてしまいましたし、キーボックスのある使用人室も施錠されてしまいましたし。
ならばその鍵は夏日おばさんが持ち歩いているはず。
Oh.
礼拝堂にはまだ夏日おばさんの遺体があるはずだ。
But did we leave the chapel open?
警察が来
I
る
don't
前
think we
に勝手に
did.
いじってしまうのは悪いことだけれど、それについてはちゃんと説明しよ
Yeah, I'm not really for, meddling with these corpses
礼
here
拝堂の入り
to
口
find
の
an
鍵
item,
がかけられ
but
ております。
yeah, there we go.
う。ゴーダさんの腕力じゃガラス1枚割れないのかい。その辺の石で叩き割ればいい。
大切な礼拝堂の窓を破ってしまってもよろしいのでしょうか。
We're already this late into the game, might
お
as
じい
well.
様に怒られるときは僕が責任を持つよ。僕はもともと今日後宮家の全員と戦うつもりでいた。
That is true. That is
君との
true.
婚約を許してもらうためにね。だから元よりその覚悟はある。ガラスを割ろう。そして夏日おばさんの遺体から鍵を借りよう。
George's announcement that he'd take responsibility seemed to have given the servants a great deal of courage. Excuse me. Shannon and Goda looked at each other, and then looked at George's face again.
オカルトに詳しいおじい様だもの。夏日おばさんの霊境の力だってきっと理解してくれる。大丈夫。怒られたりなんかしない。
奥様の
To be
鏡
fair,
で
Kinzo also said he does
本当に
not give a shit what everybody does
もう一度
anyways.
封じることができるでしょうか。
わからない。でも試す価値はあると思う。なら行こう。表はどんどん暗くなっちゃうよ。急ごう。シャノンは懐中電灯を、ゴーダさんはガラスを割れそうな道具を、ゲンジさんはすみません、傘の用意をお願いします。
はい。
Honestly, I want to see them go through with this. This actually seems a little interesting. I want to see if there's anything that we can really obtain from trying to do this, any information we can gather. The servants who had been rejected by Rosa gained a new master and started to move. George, who was normally calm and gentle, was now radiating dignity. I like George. Shannon checked the emergency flashlight, just in case she changed the batteries. Goda was testing several heavy-looking cooking tools. Normally, a highly praised chef like him wouldn't want to use them for something other than their intended purpose. But now he was frantic to fulfill the orders of the one he accepted as his master. After some worrying, he took a large, thick-feeling frying pan. Okay. If I can speak here, Genji removed several umbrellas from the umbrella stand set in the corner near the kitchen door. He took 3 of them.
ゲンジさん。
私はご一緒できません。
Oh?
ご用命の時に 全員がいないようなことがあっては。
そんな現実
No, I don't like that idea
今
here.
のこの屋敷で
親方様に受けたご恩をお返しするための日々でした。このような老いぼれがどうなろうと、すべてはルール。
Ah, the roulette.
私は
He's picked up a little bit of
どのよう
the
な結果が出るのか
of the word usage from the one that he has served for so long. As Genji said that, he sat down. As though saying that he didn't intend to discuss this anymore, his gaze fell to the chessboard that he played Nanjo on. When George saw this, he decided to leave Genji there. Well,
行こうみんな
goodbye, Genji.
今は
We
少
will
し
not
風
be
もおと
seeing
なしい
him
みたい
further in
だ
episode 2. When George took an umbrella and dashed down the hallway, Shannon and Goda chased after him, each holding a tool. It'd be nice if he actually just, you know, tried going up to the, to Kinzo's study or something, you know? Just go and do something. Don't just sit here. You're a sitting duck. After they flew out of the room, Genji quietly stretched his hand out to the side of the chessboard. He softly pulled something there towards himself, covering it with his palm. Genji killed his breathing even more than before. As he did, something flashed gold. Yeah, here we go. From inside an ice pail set on the counter, a small gold butterfly appeared softly and silently. It was almost as though it had seen George and the rest off and was trying to secretly chase after them. It happened in an instant. The elegant gold butterfly, flapping its wings, was pinned against the wall by the knife Genji threw, just like a butterfly in a bug collection. After the gold butterfly beat its wings several times, looking like it was in pain, it accepted the fact that it couldn't break free, became fine gold powder, and smoke, and then disappeared as though it had melted into water. Interesting. Damn, everybody's getting followed. Genji still gazed down at the chessboard as though nothing had happened. Maybe he would think up a brilliant move very soon. But no matter what move he made, his opponent would not be able to respond for all eternity. Even though he knew that, Genji searched for a brilliant move. It must have been the perfect way to kill time, during the short period before some fate would be given to him. He didn't know what result the roulette would bring about, but that decision would be made very soon. No one could interfere with the tumbling roulette ball. God damn it. Yeah, we are so losing Genji. That is so sad. God damn it. Why do the good ones have to die? The door to the parlor was not only locked, but blocked with a barricade made of sofas and the like. Because of that, Aunt Rosa seemed to suspect that any suspicious person approaching would break in through the window. Sitting on a one-person sofa, her back to the door, she continued to hold on to her gun. Yeah, have fun doing that for a while. I didn't know what was what anymore, and even though my body and mind were worn out, I played with Maria as she wanted. Maria had said it. Beatrice was testing us to see if we could solve the epitaph of the gold, so we had to try and figure out this riddle. In the beginning, I was a little interested to try and solve it, but I didn't even have a clue where to start in this weird text. I didn't doubt that there was some riddle hidden there, but I seriously doubted I'd be able to suddenly leap to an answer. Now that I'm thinking about it, actually. Yeah, we did get another letter from the witch, but we had already read through all of this, or it was read to us. Anything new in the grimoire? No. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we were, caught up there. In the middle part of the epitaph, there were the lines going from the 1st to the 10th twilight, telling us to journey to the Golden Land. On the 1st twilight, offer the 6 chosen by the Kia sacrifices, all the parents minus Rosa. On the 2nd twilight, those who remain shall tear apart the 2 who are close. It was obvious that this hinted at the first 6 murders that had already occurred in the chapel, and Jessica and Konun-kun's murders. At fucking long last, we're getting to this part. If this was being followed, we still had to be prepared for 5 more people to be killed. On the 4th twilight, gouge the head and kill. On the 5th twilight, gouge the chest and kill. On the 6th twilight, gouge the stomach and kill. On the 7th twilight, gouge the knee and kill. On the 8th twilight, gouge the leg and kill. So this is where it gets a little weird. I don't know if we or consistent on where people were fucking dying in episode 1. But 4th and 5th here were slices to the neck. I don't know if that really counts as head and chest. Kinda does, it's in between them. Dr. Nanjo and Kumasawa Ba-chan's corpses still haven't been found. However, if this follows the pattern, and they're the sacrifices of the 4th and 5th Twilights, they'll surely be found in a pitiful state, with their head and chest gouged. I mean, yeah, their corpses could have had more damage done to them, to be honest. So can we expect that 3 more of us will be gouged in the stomach, knee, and leg, and then killed? Who will it be? I looked around the room, noticing that there were 3 people here, but how should I put it? My emotions seemed paralyzed. Strangely, I didn't feel frightened. As I leaned against the sofa with the top part of my body, gazing up at the ceiling, Maria noticed. Apparently, she felt I was slacking off in my riddle solving. She got mad at me for not taking this seriously enough.
なあ、マリア。ベアトリーチェは確か、これを解いたらどうするって言ってたんだっけ?
I'm sure the witch wrote in her letter that she'd give up on collecting interest, or something abstract like that. Yeah, she would stop what she was doing, basically. And that would be it. Goodbye, Beatrice. I optimistically took that to mean that she'd give up on killing the whole family. But was it really written with that meaning? For some reason, I couldn't convince myself that solving the riddle would really save me. I feel like maybe if we do solve it, we'll just be doing what the culprit wants, and it'll all be a wasted effort. Honestly, yeah, if you think about it from like a sense of the culprit wants the gold, and he's also just going to kill everybody, yeah, why not have the people here do all the dirty work, figure out where all the gold is, and then just finish killing them off? But those that did die will remain dead, right? There's no bringing those people back.
そういうルールを奴が提示してるだけだろ。この謎を解けば、多分、じいさまの隠し黄金のありかがわかるんだろう。奴はきっとそれを狙って。狙わないよ。なんでそう断言できるんだよ。黄金は最初からベアトのものだもん。
It's just being loaned.
自分のものを狙ったりなんかしない。じゃあどうしてベアトは俺たちにこんな大ヒントを授けてくれたんだ？というか、どうしてこんなゲームじみたことを仕掛けてきたんだ？
Because it's fun.
魔法にはリスクが必要なの。
Or that, I guess.
リスク？よく意味がわかんねえな。例えばマラソン、完走すれば誰でももらえるメダルと、一番になった人しかもらえないメダルって同じ価値だと思う？思わねえぜ。つまりなんだよ。結局、
Well, yeah.
奴は遊んでるってことなのか？わざとこっちにチャンスを与えるようなことをして。違う。それがね、魔法というものなの。どんな大きな魔法にも絶対にリスクや弱点があるの。ないといけないの。魔法って言われるとピンとこねえが。ギャンブルだって考えれば
it's a fight of some sort.
少しは理解できるな。
There's always an opportunity for you to lose the fight.
でかくは勝てない。
There's a risk and there's a reward.
そして、
Potential for you to win, potential for you to lose.
配当はでかくなる。その通りだよ。
It's just that, as it stands right now, there's a huge potential for Beatrice to always win.
だから、この謎を解けばちゃんと儀式は中断される。マリアは詳しいな。そいつはみんな、ベアトリーチェに習ったのか。
You know, where else would she have learned all this stuff? So if you don't bear a risk, nothing can be gained, is that it? That definitely is the way of the world, but it's sort of in conflict with the chessboard thinking I like so much. At least when making moves in chess, players grope for the best move, always trying to avoid risk and hoping for an advantageous turn of events. They don't trust to chance like in gambling. That's right, there's no room for gambling in an intellectual game. And yet this person called Beatrice has created such an outrageous crime, or maybe a ceremony, while purposely imposing conditions for her own loss and announcing them to us. Well, it could still be like chess. Like, she's playing these moves that, sure, there's risk involved in anything, in any fight, any game, so on and so forth. But like I said, in this fight, in this game that has been created here, she has the most potential. The moves she's making that we can't really, figure out, they don't really have the biggest risk. There's always a risk of losing. She doesn't have it in the bag necessarily. So there's still the risk and reward deal here for her quote-unquote magic to work. But there's still an opportunity for us to figure things out, to make the moves we need to. We're just, losing. So I think you can still connect it to chess here. But you always play your best move. By putting yourself in your opponent's position, you can predict their next move. I'm sure even in chess, while it is an intellectual game, there are moments where you're risking a lot. And it's like that in a lot of games too, intellectual or not. I mean, as long as you set things up in a way where your moves are not predictable, you can get away with a lot. However, we can't be sure that Beatrice's moves are always the best moves possible. I thought she was probably making us focus on the epitaph to fool us in some way, speaking in riddles. God damn, if only I could read. But according to Maria, that alone was impossible. She said that this was a genuine risk that the witch had taken, and therefore proof that this was a formal ceremony for magic. I can't understand this witch called Beatrice. If she's committing this chain of murders with some goal in mind, why did she go to all the trouble of exposing the conditions for her defeat? No matter how I spin the chessboard around and think from my opponent's perspective, I can't think why she would give up if this riddle is solved. Isn't it almost as though Beatrice just doesn't care whether she wins or loses? Of course, chessboard reasoning won't work against an opponent like that. Well, something that we've learned, at least outside the scope of the story here, Battler has found that Beatrice does not like to be bored. She loves the game. She loves the risk. She doesn't want to just be, sitting around bored. I don't understand. What is Beatrice after that's making her carry out this crime? If she just wanted to massacre us all, she could have done it quietly without this whole crazy setup. There was no need for that kind-hearted advance and notice, all this self-aware closed room stuff, or any of the rest. It's all overacting. I've got no clue what it means. I mean, even on the outside here, she's given us hints. She's given us the red text. She's allowed us to try and figure things out, but she still has the advantage. Will I be unable to understand everything as long as I keep thinking of Beatrice as a greedy human culprit? If I don't accept her as a witch, will my chessboard thinking be stuck before I've even lined up the pieces? If she really is a witch and everything Maria said is true, then there's only one thing for us to do. The theory building in Discord and searching for the culprit has all been pointless. We should have all gathered in the dining hall, combining our knowledge to solve the riddle. By combining the knowledge of that many people, we might have been able to grasp at least a thread of the answer. Honestly, with that same, reasoning here, I've been saying that, hey, if we all just sat in the same fucking room and weren't trying to figure out which one of us killed people, we probably could have gotten out of this mess. That could have also been a good thing to do here. Whether or not she's a witch or whatever, if we just solved the epitaph, maybe something could have happened. But realistically, who's going to want to do that after 6 people? A few of them being family members, just died the night prior. The greedy humans, each desiring to gain something over their opponents, were getting offered up as sacrifices one by one without gathering their knowledge together. In the end, did the humans get what they deserved? They thought that they were using their brains, but they were actually thinking only of their greedy selves. In the end, chessboard theory is a thinking technique where you project yourself on your opponent. So greedy people see their greedy selves inside their opponents. I looked lazily at Aunt Rosa. She was probably tired from being under all this tension the whole time. I don't feel bad for her. I don't. I hope that she's another fucking pick here. She couldn't sleep, but she kept staring vaguely at some point off in space. Aunt Rosa had announced that we couldn't trust anyone who had not been killed. Aunt Rosa's chessboard thinking saw herself inside her opponent. In other words, maybe Aunt Rosa was an isolated woman, unable to trust anyone and unable to let her guard down. Honestly, we don't know too much about Rosa. We don't know too much about a lot of people in terms of their past. We know some things, but not too much. We've scratched the surface on a few people, as I've brought up, and we know how people here are willing to act under this pressure, especially Rosa now, goddamn. But we don't know her past. She had a partner at one point, and maybe something there, something in her childhood as well, has made her fail to trust others. She has that lack of patience too. There's reasonings for why people are the way they are. Long ago, I think I heard a bit about it from my dad. Aunt Rosa was originally a very obedient child, but her age was too far separated from the other siblings, and they often made they often made conflicting demands of her during their confrontations. Sorry guys, I was having a stroke. Thanks to this, she'd undergone a lot of physiologically harsh experiences in her youth. I was about to have one again. Jesus, that is a tough recording session for me. Often when she copied one of her siblings, another sibling would give her a hard time. True, Aunt Rosa said many things today that could be taken as abusive. No, fuck her, goddamn. But that means those words were once showered upon her, which is why they were engraved in her vocabulary. The many abusive words that she'd spoken were also words that she had been showered with in the past. Now that I think about it, I've had the feeling that her style of speech sometimes has traces of Uncle Kraus or Aunt Ava in it. I'd understood it as if them being similar because they were siblings, but maybe it wasn't just that. For the first time, I truly sympathized with Aunt Rosa. I'm not, who I always assumed was just quiet and gentle. Then what about Maria? Maria's been making a certain claim for a while now. If we can solve the riddle the witch had displayed to us, the ceremony will be halted and will definitely be saved. And I think she also said that Beatrice will never break a promise. But this is Maria we're talking about. She herself never breaks promises, and she has the most innocent heart. So she believes Beatrice also won't break her promises. She's able to believe that. But isn't that just an image of Beatrice in Maria's mind? There's no proof that the real Beatrice always keeps her promises, right? Oh, here we go.
気分の謎を解けば黄金鏡へ至ることができるだろう。さすれば儀式は終わる。それ以上誰も死にはせぬ。
お前みたいな外道の極みがルールを遵守するってのかよ。
All a part of the game, man. All a part of the game.
残忍で卑劣で外道であることを。
なんてキャッチフレーズがある以上、ちゃんと履行されてるかどうかは疑わしいな。
わらわから見れば人間の方がよっぽど利己的で外道な存在よ。
100%.
人間の約束ほど疑わしいものは
We've been seeing that at the beginning of, or during the family conferences, the parents and their lovely discussions here.
くだらない願い一つ叶えるのに、どれほど厳重に取り決めをするか想像もつくまい。
No, even contracts can be completely fucked over. The thing is that that's why as a society we have laws that actually work with these contracts. You can break a promise all you want. You'll just have repercussions.
少しでも隙があると。まあいい。そなたが思っているほど。わらわも
Nah, I
無慈
still
悲で
think you
は
are
ないぞ。
heartless, but that's an interesting statement. Interesting. People must press up against each other. Crimes of the human world.
嘘をつけ。これだけの大勢をこんな残酷な方法で殺しておいて何が無慈悲ではないだ。約束は守るだと。いい加減なことを言うな。俺はお前を認めない。断じてそれを譲らないことだけがお前への抵抗だと俺は信じてる。
Well, good comeback for Battler here, because in the end of the previous video, he was getting doo-dooed on.
永遠の災難である
So
のは
many fucking
わらわ
laughing
に対
sound
しても
effects.
同じであるというわけか。千年は長い。魔女の強さは魔力より我慢強さで決まるのかもしれんな。なるほど。
Hey, yo.
ベルン教の恐ろしさもうなずける。
何をわけのわかんねえ話をブツブツ言ってやがる。
さっさと永遠の苛波とやらを続けろよ。俺は1000年でも1万年でも付き合う覚悟だぜ。
よいよい、少しは戦う気力も戻ってきたようだな。
I know, that's what I'm saying,
そう
and I'm
で
happy to
なけ
see
れ
it.
ばつまらない。ほら、対戦ゲームでもよくあるだろ。乱入したけど相手があまりに弱くて拍子抜けで、わざと負けて最終ラウンドまで延長させて、最後に本気でフルボッコにすることとかってあるだろ。
例えの意味がわかんねえよ。
Yeah, I have no idea what the fuck she's talking about,
ワインと同
really.
じよ。
That was lovely. Lovely cackling from Beatrice. Honestly, something that I was just thinking about is that... Oh, we're breaking that window. Nice, we're going through with it. Damn, it got dark in here. Oh, never
何
mind.
度見ても辛いな。
You know, at least it's actually the same, exactly as we left it. It would be a real eyebrow raiser if things had actually changed in here. There's something I was thinking about. Battler's trying to, you know, disprove the witch, to show that there's something else going on here. But, you know, I might have things a little backwards here. You know what? I'm going to talk about that at the end as well. I want to see what else kind of comes up at the end here, but things might be more reversed than I thought, and more on the side of fiction than I thought.
胸中お察しし
I
ま
mean, this
す。
is fiction.
シャノンさん、
Some may say it's peak
鍵を頼
fiction.
みます。お亡くなりになられたとはいえ、奥様はレディーです。私には触れることができません。
はい。
Shannon nodded sharply, her expression filled with a sense of duty. George, Goda, and Shannon had broken a suitable window and were inside the chapel. Since they really hadn't wanted to break one, they'd searched for another way in just in case. But in the end, after proving once again that there was nowhere they could slip in through, it only became more obvious that this chapel was a mysterious closed room. I wonder. Inside the chapel, time had stopped ever since the last time they'd left it. Even George wasn't able to approach that gruesome Halloween party again. It was only natural. It reminded him again of the sadness of losing both parents at once. And Goda, thinking of the possibility that those corpses might have changed in some horrible way, now that a half a day had passed, didn't want to let George get near them. Yeah, that might leave a bit of a lasting imprint on the mind of, you know, what they looked like and all that. We don't want to do that. Shannon followed Goda's instructions and approached the party table. Normally, Shannon might have resented having another dirty job forced on her, but now she could truly understand Goda's mental state. Even though Goda had prodigious skill, he had gotten dragged into trouble, losing his job and ending up left out into the streets before Natsuhi gave him a new life. Though it had been just a casual employment decision for Natsuhi, Goda must have thought it a turning point in his fate. Those around Goda could see that he felt a special kind of loyalty to Natsuhi. So he probably didn't want to lose that feeling, even after her death. Now that does make sense. And now we got to learn a little bit more about Goda, because that's just another character that we really don't know too much about. Now that half a day had passed, the bodies of Natsuhi and the rest had changed completely. Small bugs sniffling out of the smell of death had started to gather. That's fucking awful. It really wasn't something you'd want to look at directly.
奥様、失礼いたします。
Yeah, hopefully the corpses don't fucking move and do all creepy shit and whatever else. Let's just get the key and go. Because of her long experience as a servant, Shannon had an idea of which pocket Natsuhi kept the key to her room in. It would probably be this pocket. Her guess didn't fail her. Just by touching the outside of the pocket, she was immediately able to feel it.
ありました。奥様の部屋の鍵です。
Now let's bounce out of here. Shannon held the key up high, showing the others that it had been found. As George and Goda watched her, their eyes opened wide. Do not do this. Please, game. This is also like, maybe it's another fear of some sort in media like this. Oh, fuck. God damn it. I brought this up before. The fucking painting with Beatrice. I'm always pleading for it not to change whatsoever, because that's something that should not change. This is something very similar. A dead person should not be moving around. Just like a painting should not be moving around. That wasn't the expression Shannon was expecting, so it startled her. What's happening? Oh, fuck. Well, that's a little bit more on the expected side, I suppose. After all, Shannon hadn't noticed. George and Goda, watching from afar, noticed it first. After all, when Shannon had held the key up high, a blizzard of gold leaf had seeped up from around the table. There were countless gold butterflies. It was the first time George had seen them, so it might have looked like some kind of illusion. But Goda already knew. He knew that those gold butterflies were far from beautiful, and that they would bring about some kind of misfortune. And that gold swelled, trying to suck Shannon in.
Shannon-san, 走って!
Shannon also realized that gold butterflies were trying to swallow her up. She ran unsteadily, her expression still shocked. As she did, the gold butterflies danced around her all at once. They grouped together. They tried to swallow her up.
Shannon! くそ、なんだこれは。これが君たちの言っていた。
早く外へ！こいつらめ！くそ！くそ！
Hey, at least George gets to see this shit. George and Goda rushed up to Shannon, driving off the cloud of butterflies. And while the butterflies were scattered, they ran towards the broken window. However, they needed a good footing to get out of the window, which was surrounded by shards of broken glass. When they'd entered, there had been enough time to prepare for that, but now there was none.
扉から出よう。足場を探してる時間なんかない。
開かない。硬い。
What? Wait, so we can open the door from the inside even so it's locked. That's good information to have, but it's not opening?
貸して。くそ、このオンボロが。
ジョージ様、お早く！くそ、なめるな。
Yeah, you're the big guy here. Goda took off his jacket, swinging it around and scattering the group of butterflies. But saying he was outnumbered would be a real understatement. Well, no shit. It was doubtful that it even bought them a short amount of time. George struggled with the broken handle. Its age showed and it didn't turn well. I can't leave it to strength. It needs the right angle, or there's some trick to it.
ジョージ様！くそ！この化け物どもが！
At that moment, Goda saw it. He was seen by it. In other words, their eyes met. On top of the party table, no, with the stained glass behind it, floating, laughing, was the figure of the witch. He saw the figure of the laughing witch in the center of the golden whirlwind, with the gold butterflies fluttering about at the ready. It should have been Goda's first meeting with her, but he knew her at a glance. Just like the other servants had said, this was certainly the witch of the portrait herself. Well, Goda's gonna die.
そろそろ晩餐の時間ではないか。すでにわらわはこの屋敷のホストである。そなたらを素晴らしきディナーで歓待しなくてはならぬというもの。おあつらえ向きに3人ではないか。これは実に好都合。
Oh, don't run in. Hey, yo?
開いた。
ゴーダさん、早く。ベアトリーチェ様。
Oh, they're now seeing her.
足を止めてもよいのか。ここがそなたらの墓場にふさわしいというならそれもよかろうぞ。かつての主の傍らにて死後も仕えたいというその心意気はたたえようぞ。
The golden whirlwind that wrapped around the witch burst. It was like an evil hand had literally spread its fingers and was trying to attack them. The cloud of gold butterflies attacked with a fluttering sound, excuse me.
急ぐんだ。足を止めちゃいけない。
George's voice brought Shannon and Goda back to their senses. Standing here now would make them like frogs getting stared down by a snake. They had to resist. They had to fight this incarnation of the new brutal and frightening order in which Rokkenjima had been enveloped. Yeah, we gotta bounce the fuck out of here, gang. There was no time to take out their umbrellas. The three of them dashed out into the pouring rain. The three of them never realized because they didn't turn around, but the gold butterflies apparently couldn't handle the rain too well, and this hampered their ability to chase after the humans. Well, that's actually good information to have. The three people ran from their golden pursuers and flew into the mansion. Not that it's gonna do anything, obviously. Yep, here we go.
愉快愉快こうでなくては面白くない
Like, no shit, she's gonna catch up eventually. They unlocked the door and dashed into the room. A bit of the scent from Natsuhi's favorite gentle incense remained in there. However, there was no time to let that calm them now.
どこにあるんだ？宝物箱の中って言ったっけ？
話に聞いただけです。実際にどこにあるかまでは。
Yeah, we gotta ransack this place and hurry.
多分お化粧台かベッドの脇にあるんじゃないかと思います。
Shannon's womanly sensibilities led her to conclude that. But next to the bed, there was only an incense burner, a half-read novel, and glasses. However, the dresser was elegant and had many drawers, and it would be understandable if she had kept some of her valuables there.
夏日おばさん、ごめん。
He began to violently open each one of the drawers. He had to hurry. He couldn't actually hear footsteps, but he had the feeling that the witch was approaching. He had the feeling that her laugh was approaching. And those gold butterflies can appear at any moment. He emptied the drawers one by one and examined their contents. Every small box for makeup looked like a treasure box, and the amount of effort it would take to inspect all of them made him feel a little dizzy. Oh, it's overwhelming.
この箱かもしれません。鍵がかかってて開きません。
At a glance, it looked slightly larger than a music box. When shaken, it rustled as though various small objects were inside. But it was locked and didn't open.
普通鍵はすぐ近くに隠しておくものです。あるいは常に身につけている人もいるかも。
Aw, man.
わからない。わからない。
やむを得ない。壊そう。でも乱暴にはできないね。
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, we gotta be a little cautious here.
こじ開ける道具はないかな。そう。
Goda looked all over the room, trying to see if there was some tool that they could use. And he noticed the door, which had been left open ever since they had entered. He approached the door to close it and saw the abominable shadows of people approaching from beyond the darkness in the hall. No, it wasn't shadows of people, because they weren't human at all.
ジョージ様、急い。
Goda's voice trailed off. It was the shock of seeing a procession of those not of this world. He was a servant, so he knew all the servants working for the Ushiromiya family. But he didn't know about these. However, they were definitely servants, and not servants working for Ushiromiya Kinzo or Ushiromiya Kraus. Oh no. Not these hunks again. These new servants who worked for the new master of the mansion, the Golden Witch Beatrice, had goat heads and bright red boiled eyes of lava. Fuck. They're goddamn D-swords. As the new master laughed loudly and trimly directed 6 of the new servants, he saw them approach, piercing the darkness as they came. Of course, she was clad in the gold butterflies that were her symbol. Goda hurriedly closed the door and locked it. Yeah, that's gonna do a whole fucking lot. However, just as he locked it, it returned to normal, just as though a spring of something had knocked it back. God damn it. It gave the illusion that some prankster beyond the door was unlocking it every time he locked it. Just keep locking it, you know? Just gotta buy time. They couldn't have reached the other side of the door yet. So who was doing it and how? It almost felt like playing with a broken toy. Yeah, nothing's working. Okay, so it's not necessarily them unlocking it, it's just that it won't engage the lock.
閉めても開いてしまう。どうなってんだこりゃ。クソクソクソクソ。
鍵がわらわを拒むと思うか
I mean, I'd hope.
その部屋の新しき主をその部屋の扉が拒むと思うのか
It was like the witch could see Goda's frantic effort through the door. Even now, the footsteps continued to approach. And when not just their footsteps, but even their breath could be heard, Goda gave up on the lock and slammed into the door, locking it using his own large body. Oh, I don't think he's out doing these big-ass goat men.
これはどうでしょう。レターオープナーか。そっちの方がいいね。貸して。万年筆じゃうまくいかない。
Now, I think a letter opener would do pretty good. George took it and once again dug into the crack under the lid of the treasure box. It looks like it's working. They are putting a lot of faith in this goddamn mirror that they're trying to get to. The pressure from across the door grew even stronger. Goda screamed. This wasn't a war cry during a test of strength. He was terrified. He was simply terrified that nothing but a single wooden door was stopping him from touching something not of this world. But he was still lucky. He wasn't touching the things directly, because they were on the other side of the door, for now. So if he were to touch them directly, Goda's cry would surely turn from something brave into a pathetic, piercing scream, and therefore one that was more real. Oh, shit. Uh-oh. Goda couldn't believe what was happening right before his eyes. Going through the door, an arm was slipping straight through the wood like it was water. As though doing this was the most natural thing in the world, and it rubbed the back of Goda's hand as he frantically tried to hold the door shut. It slid up his arm to his chest and then up to his chin. By now, Goda's scream wasn't even audible anymore. He could hear a sweet whispering voice from across the door. It wasn't coming from the witch, but it sounded like a young woman. However, that didn't change the fact that came from someone not of this world. Again, why are the evil ones the hottest? It is. It's so over. Yep, there it is. Goodbye, Goda. But where is he getting stabbed? Because that's kind of important here. That lewd arm burst. Then they heard the sound of something jumping around the room at an incredible speed. They didn't know what it was. Incredibly fast, small, like steel or maybe a beetle. When it buried itself right into the center of Goda's chest and stopped, they realized for the first time that its true form was something like a stake with a strange design on it. Goda's large body shook, bent backwards, and fell over. As it did, the door opened softly, even though no one was pushing it, welcoming in the new master of this room. It looked almost as though the door itself had accepted her. Oh, man. Yeah. Hello, everybody. Jesus Christ, we're so fucked. The goat attendants came in one after another, 6 of them. Then that witch came in, and the gold butterflies came in. The room was wrapped in a blizzard of gold leaf, which fell and piled up, turning it more and more into a world of gold. Oh, hello.
Shannon, ルーレットはそなたとジョージを選んだ。解放の日に感謝せよ。未練はあるまい？ないよな。惚れた男から婚約指輪をもらって、夜も共にしないうちに殺されてしまっても未練なんかないよな。
That is so fucked. Come on, Beatrice.
女の幸せを教えてもらいたかったんだろう。ああ、シャーノン、ダメ。垂れてるぜ。だらだら垂れてんのが見えるぜ。シャーノン。
Crack. It was the sound of the lid to the treasure box breaking open. All right, who's going to win? Small mirror with, the potential of who knows what, or 6 very much powerful, strong, and otherworldly goatmen, Beatrice and butterflies. We're about to find out. When George turned it over, accessories, charms, various small objects that Natsuhi had treasured when she was a girl fell out. Mixed in with that was a pouch that stood out from the rest. He picked it up and was immediately sure this was it.
見つけたこれだ
いいって及ばなかったの
What do you mean by that?
死ね
くそ
Oh, here we go. What's gonna happen here? All at once, the gold butterflies attacked George, who was hurriedly trying to remove the contents of the pouch. Well, it might be too late for him then. Huh? Fuck just happened? At that time, a bright red flash seemed to light up the room for an instant. That red flash seemed to cut a hole in the cloud of gold butterflies raging around the room, drawing a circle with Shannon at the center. So the resulting scene looked truly divine, almost as though a single streak of light had cut through the clouds of this world of gold. George, who was curled in a ball trying to protect himself from the group of butterflies, didn't have a clue what was going on. Oh shit, what in the fuck is happening here, gang? I have no idea. Then he noticed that Shannon was standing guard in front of him, shielding him, as she glared at the witch and the rest with a serious face she had never shown him before.
忘れていた
Yeah, I gotta forget that Kanun himself had some weird, unnatural, supernatural, more-like abilities.
そなたもまた金蔵の優れた家具だったな
God damn, what are they teaching over at that orphanage?
それもカノンよりだいぶ熟成した
Some weird-ass alchemy and shit,
カ
probably.
ノン君をよくも殺したことじゃないよくも亡骸を消し去りその名誉まで汚そうとしたな
おやおやシャーノンカノンに会えなくて寂しいならわらわに頼めよいつだって会わせてやるというのに
Uh-oh. No, hold on. I know what she's trying to pull here. Yeah. When the witch snapped her fingers, one of the 6 goat attendants glittered gold and changed into Kanun. It was definitely a sight to make one doubt their eyes. It was definitely Kanun's face. But it's not him. We've been here before. However, in those eyes, the glint of Kanun's integrity was nowhere to be seen. They were the hazy eyes of furniture that only obeyed the orders of the witch. George couldn't understand the scene right before his eyes, and he finally understood why Goda and the rest had been unable to talk about what they'd seen in the servant room.
さあカノン姉と遊んでやりなさい
That is so fucked.
もし痛めつけられた
It's so messed
ら
up.
思いっきり苦悶の表情を浮かべてやるといい
Oh, man. From the imposter Kanun's arm, a strange shining curve extended. He planned to tear Shannon apart with that. With a single stroke, he would attack Shannon, who still hadn't prepared her heart, and...
許さない一度ならず二度までも死者を汚すなんて許せない
ほざくな弟に殺されろよシャーノンきっといい夢が見られるぜ
Okay, what does she have planned here? She's just gonna straight up fight? Anime style, shonen style, I guess. The imposter Kanun certainly seemed to lunge at Shannon, drawing several purple curves. But when he flew at her, it was as though some kind of invisible wall had been placed in front of her. The wall repelled the imposter, leaving a bright red ripple on its surface. No, it didn't repel him, it smashed him, and knocked him back, turning him into gold dust into little bits, scattering him. So is that her ability here? I'm going to assume so. That foolish furniture, who had taken Kanun's form and even disgraced his honor after death, broke into countless gold butterflies. And then those butterflies themselves broke into pieces, and those pieces were broken into pieces, until they were no longer butterflies, but a gold splash that faded away.
シャノン
ジョージさんはそこから動かないでください。中心軸をずらしたくない。
Yeah, better yet, get that fucking mirror out.
これは驚いた。虫一匹殺せない面をしてこれだけの力を見せたか。なるほど、霊境がそなたに力を貸しているというのか。しかしその霊境の本当の力を引き出すには準備も時間も足りないな。そのどちらもわらわは与えはせぬ。
Oh, but of course. The spirit mirror George gripped had let out a divine glow, displaying a strength powerful enough not to submit to wicked forces. But that glow was no match for the witch's sinister nature. So was all this for
こ
fucking
れだか
naught?
ら家具は怖い。予期せずしてタンスの角にぶつける足の小指のような気持ちよ。これだから家具は怖い。家具が家具。
私は家具じゃない。そしてあなたを今はとても哀れに思う。
Yeah, you tell her.
何？
Throw your shit.
ほう、1000年の魔女に100年も至らぬ家具が今何と言ったか。
Oh, she's
あ
speaking
なたは
back.
とても哀れな人。愛し合う二人に
This is a
未
bit
練
of
がないわ
Shannon's
けがない。
episode after all.
でもあなたの期待するような未練はかけらほどもない。
語るか、家具の分際で。
Oh yeah, she dare.
ジョージと結ばれたくてわらわの靴を舐めた日々を忘れてわらわにそれを語るか。
Wait, did that happen? You know, just curious. Just wondering.
霊念を這うが人間。あなたがどんな邪悪な魔法や悪意で私たちを災難だとしても永遠は汚さない。
Good shit, good shit.
綺麗事を詩人のように語るな。
Nah, she meant that stuff,
愛
man.
は情欲なんだよ。少女漫画見たく綺麗事ばっかりで語れねえんだよ。
Nah,
男
not
ど
even.
もはお前の匂いに惹かれて群がるウジバエどもな
But
んだ
that
よ。
does make me wonder, you know,
そん
how
な
much
こ
does
ともその年でまだ理解で
what
き
has
ねえ
Beatrice
の
gone
か
through in
よ。
her 1,000 years, you
お
know?
前は失望するぜ。
She seems to have a bit of a
その
twisted
後ろのメ
view.
ガネ男のどす黒い欲望。がっかり愕然唖然呆然全然ダメだぜ。ショーノン。
God damn, again, these fucking faces, man.
ああ、もういいや。語るな家具が。この家具。何様のつもりだよ、語りやがって。愛なんて結局はど汚ねえ汚物をどう綺麗に見せようかって欺瞞なんだよ。そいつに気づいて人は大人になるんだろう。
I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure that, you know, George and Shannon are about to die here, but it's crazy to see Beatrice taken aback like this.
それでもそのメガネがお前を愛するか試してやるよ。そいつの愛のどぎたねえ現実ってやつを教えてやるよ。死ねえよガラクタが。てめえが愛を語るんじゃねえ。
God damn, can we just go back to having tea at the beach or some shit? Those were simpler times. The invisible column of light with Shannon at the center started to have bright red ripples drawn all over it at once. The wall did its best to withstand the unseeable malice that tried to corrode in on them from all directions.
なんだよそれは。抵抗してるつもりかよ。
I mean, I'd like to believe she
安
is.
っぽいんだよ。薄っぺらいんだよ。見たくないものをベールで覆って隠してるだけなんだよ。まだわかんないのかよ。だから家具なんだよ。家具。ほら。
Do we have to do that sound effect every time there's a new line?
コリコリガリガリゴリゴリなんて薄くて情けないんだよ。お前のその薄っぺらな抵抗に比べたら、パルミジャーノレッジアーノの方がまだ削るのに
I don't even know what the hell she's talking about anymore, to be honest. Yeah, keep that shit up, Shannon. You're doing it, I think. The golden windstrom that covered the room gradually began to shave the walls off the column that protected Shannon and George. The bright red ripples frantically drew a resisting pattern, but that just turned into a red wall of despair that began to wrap the two of them up. Excuse me.
ジョージさん、ごめんなさい。やはり、私には
Nah,
無理
keep
で
it
した。
up. Keep fighting.
ありがとう。君は僕のために戦ってくれた。それだけで嬉しいよ。
Honestly, this is way more of a nicer end to the two of them than in episode 1. If they have to go out, what a nicer way for them to go out. The round wall that had once protected them was assaulted and covered with a curve of bright red ripples as it seemed to scream, and it began to suck the two of them up instead. Oh, this is lovely. Sorry to those with epilepsy. Well, now they're gonna die. But hey, good fight, honestly. Good attempt at fighting back.
ジョージさん、お願いが。
Shannon grasped George's hand behind her, so George hugged her shoulders just as strongly.
なんだい。
最後に
Aw,
愛してるって。
ain't that cute.
さよ。僕は君を
You better finish that sentence. Good enough. I'll take it. That was pretty alright. Alright, we're approaching midnight. 3 more hours. And that clock is getting awfully close to the screen. But that's definitely going to do it for this one. Jesus Christ. I recorded for quite a bit. But with that, we should have all our deaths, right? I'm pretty sure. Is Genji still alive? Yeah, Genji is still alive. All right. He outlived the other 3 by just staying, in the same spot. Wow. All right. Now, I guess Beatrice had more fun with the chase. But with that, the final 5 here, Genji made it to the final 5. He is not a sacrifice, I think. Then we also maybe have Kinzo, not really sure there. And then we also have the family members of Maria, Battler, and Rosa. Not really surprising that Battler has made it to the final 5 yet again. But yeah, wow, what a wild turn of events all that was that I totally was able to follow. But we'll save it there. Chapter 16. We are, I want to say, really close to the end, but especially since we have all 13 sacrifices, right? We should be good to go. But that does beg the question, we have 3 more hours until midnight. What more is there to happen? And I guess we'll find out in the next one. So thank you all for tuning in. Hope you all enjoyed that crazy anime fight. If you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that fancy jazz, and I will see you all in the next one. Take it easy.